in every level. And as you said before, Ted, they protect each other, and they're not about to let information out.
Well, this is a federal judge, too, and those federal judges are very powerful men.
They sure are, yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I played high school football. My senior year in high school was in Lincoln, Nebraska. Before that, I went to high school in Iowa City, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
But in Iowa, I played high school football with an individual who became a federal judge, a lawyer in Omaha, and then a federal judge, and then the senior appellate judge in that circuit out of Minneapolis. And once I became involved in this case, he dropped me. He wouldn't have anything to do with me.
Wow.
And as a matter of fact, he called me and warned me about Decamp. He says, Ted, don't you know about this man? He's not credible, and so on and so forth. And I called John and told him what he said, and they were in the process of trying to disbar John at the time.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, they've done a number of attempts to disbar him because of this case. They've, nickel and dime reasons, and as a result of that phone call to me by this judge, federal judge, John indicated to me they dropped the lawsuit against him. I mean, the attempts to disbar him. Oh yeah, John's had a terrible situation.
Now, is that because of what he said, or because of what he might say?
No, it was because the judge was out of line to call me on this.
No. But I mean, why are they so hell bent to destroy John Decamp?
Oh, because he's the one that was the main individual who exposed all this.
But that's in the past, so they're still after him because of what he did.
Oh no, they don't forget.
No, I know. I know they don't forget. Tell me, yeah.
They'll go after John as long as he's alive.
And now with this Larry King out again, and as Jim last night told us that he's back in operation in Washington, D.C.
He may be in Chelsea, New York. He may be living in the Chelsea area. That's a section of New York City.
Yeah, I'm from there. I know.
Oh, do you? Is that a pretty big area, large area?
Well, Manhattan is. Chelsea is a smaller area, but it's a nice area. I mean, of course, most of New York today is nice. It's so expensive to live there, but all my advanced schooling is there. I played football in New York and everything else.
Where'd you go to school there?
NYU, Columbia, and CCNY.
Oh, you've been around the block. I was
a few times.
I was an old Midwestern kid. You were uptown.
Yeah, well, I was born and raised in New Jersey, and went to prep school in New Jersey, and
North Jersey or South Jersey?
Right in the middle of it, Hightstown, New Jersey, the Petty School.
Okay. I'll tell you this story. I was at a cocktail party. I was number 2 man in Connecticut, and Yale University's in Connecticut. That's where that's where the Bushes went to school, and the rest of them, Carey and so forth.
That's right.
And I was looked across the room, and here's this fellow with a nice silk tie and silk suit, and pretty soon I had an opportunity to talk to him, and I said to him, you went to Yale University, didn't you? And he said, well, yeah. Well, how did you know that? I said, this is the way you're dressed, the silk suit, the tie, and so on and so forth, and your demeanor. And he looked at me, he says, well, you went to the University of Nebraska, didn't you? And I said, well, yeah, how did you know that? He says, I saw on your ring when you were picking your nose.
I had a friend of mine's dad who I hold in the highest respect because he gave me a book when I was 15 years old called Atlas Shrugged, and it changed my life. And Bill Poten was the man's name, the father's name, and the son's name, too. And he told us a story once. He went to Princeton, and at the time I was going to Princeton. I was accepted into Princeton, but as certain things happen, when you're 18 years old and you have a lot of hormones, my oldest child, my daughter, is 19 years younger than me. Does that say anything?
Yeah, of course.
And back in those days, you could not go to any of these schools as an undergraduate and be married. So I went to NYU because they gave me the highest, the biggest scholarship of anybody else at the time, and I went on a track scholarship. But anyway, he said Bill Poten Sr. was in the bathroom one time, and as he's leaving, this guy is there, and the guy was from Yale University. And he looked at Bill Sr. and he said, at Yale, we are taught to wash our hands after going to the bathroom. And Bill Poten Sr. looked at him, classic statement, he says, at Princeton, we are taught to wash our hands before we go to the bathroom. And then he walked out. I've never forgotten that. That says a whole lot when you start to think about it, Ted.
That's right. Well, those Ivy League schools are kind of, they're kind of up in the air a little bit, aren't they?
Yeah, a little bit. But there's a lot of, how can I say it? I don't want to say evil, but there's a lot of stuff going on in research, besides Skull and Bones at Yale and all that other. I mean, a lot of the Ivy League schools are doing things now in their graduate departments that is not good.
Well, my client, Dr. Jeffrey McDonald, went to school at Princeton.
Yep, I knew that.
Yeah, he was Princeton. I don't know if he graduated or not, but I don't know where he got his doctorate degree, but he was a brilliant surgeon. Jeff was, by the way, from Long Island, New York.
Yeah, it seems to me that he went after Princeton, something like Harvard. I mean, he was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Is there any chance in the world, Ted, that the true story of what happened to Jeffrey McDonald's ever going to come out and he'll get out of prison?
Well, there's a chance, because as I mentioned, I think on the show a couple of nights ago, the judge ordered DNAs in 1997, and the prosecution was only allowed to be present when they opened the evidence envelopes, and of the 15 envelopes, 5 were missing evidence, and then we still haven't done the DNA. So
it's only been 8 years.
Feet, huh?
It's only 8 years.
Yeah, it doesn't take that long to do DNA.
No.
So there's a stall on, and I think that the 48 Hours Mysteries show that's going to be aired in September will present a fair picture. I just did, because they interviewed me for 2 hours on camera, and they asked some tough questions, and I was able to answer them. But from the questions they asked, I think they're going to be fair about it. And that's all we ask of the mainstream media. They are fair.
What could happen to a man like Dr. Jeffrey McDonald after spending this many years in prison and all of a sudden be exonerated and let loose? I mean,
he's anticipated that, and he has kept studying his medicine in prison.
Really?
And although he has lost his medical license, he plans to practice medicine when he gets out, and he's convinced he's going to get out. And I'm hoping he'll get out. I took these signed confessions in 1980, 26 years ago.
Yeah, right.
I said to myself, boy, this is wonderful. We're going to get this man out of prison. I can't believe he's still in prison today. We not only have my signed confession that I obtained from Alina Stokely, Greg Mitchell confessed in a drunken stupor to a neighbor, and Kathy Perry, one of the other participants, confessed to the FBI.
So you got all the participants, and he's still in prison.
Well, we had 3 out of the 7.
Yeah.
Ted,
we're almost out of time, bud. We got about 20 seconds. I will see you tomorrow night.
Okay, Alex.
I'll try and call you during the day, but great show. Thanks, Ted. God bless.
Thank you.
You take care.
God bless.
Okay, bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Ted Gunderson, everybody. I'm Alex Merklinger, and this is Mysteries of the Mind on the Millennium Radio Network.